Welcome to SSU Live, the best in local Seattle sports talk. We are the Seattle Sports Union. With me today are Matthew No Gimmicks Needed Page and Oopsies Ian Loney. I am Abraham DeWeese, and today's show we're going to talk a little bit about the Sounders. We're going to have some scintillating conversation about the Seahawks and a quick look at the Seattle Mariners, followed by the return of our favorite segment, Buy, Sell, or Go to Hell. Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
Good, great to be here.
How'd you enjoy watching one referee by the name of Mark Geiger make a mess of yesterday's Seattle Sounders game?
Well, I think the ECS had a good chant for him by the end of the night. I think it went along the lines of "F you, Geiger," but but that about summed up the night. I mean, two just completely blown penalty calls. I mean, the second one was at least somewhat understandable. There was at least some actual physical contact, but the first one, the guy tripped over his own feet. The defender was a foot and a half away. He just fell down and got a penalty call. It's just unbelievable.
Pretty sick, that first penalty. It was
Mhm.
a guy who, you said he tripped. I think he flopped. I think it was a blatant dive, and I think that's an issue that a lot of people here in the United States hate about soccer. That's a thing they really hate. It's a blatant dive and then getting rewarded for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem I have with soccer, watching soccer nowadays is especially, like we went to see the Mexico City matchup earlier this season, and those kind of devious tricks are played all the time and they get away with it, and it's systemic. It's built into the game. It bothers me, I guess I have to say.
Well, I think Club America showed the entire MLS something. It's been around for a while now, but they definitely showed MLS something that the way to beat the Sounders is to just keep fouling them. Every time they get any kind of tempo going, anytime they get any kind of possession going, you just foul the crap out of them. You upset their tempo, you get back in your shape in defense, and you stalls them out because you're not going to pay any penalties for it. You're not going to get carded. You're not going to get any real trouble. So there's absolutely no disincentive to do that.
No, Vancouver had 20 fouls. 20!
And that was a bit. There were a couple that didn't go up on the board from what I saw too. There was even more than that, I thought. But yeah, it was unbelievable.
Well, and speaking to the flustered, speaking to the flustering the Sounders and so forth. I'm looking at a breakdown of the shots here. 19-9, the Sounders had more shots on goal, but 9 of those shots were completely off target, and they've got a great breakdown there on MLSsoccer.com, and Vancouver was on target completely, and the Sounders, absolute chaos. Balls going everywhere.
They had 5 shots on goal, Vancouver, but 2 of those were from the spot, so I expect those to be on target. 2 more were very weak shots. They only had one. Vancouver had one good shot at goal in the entire game on the run of play. If you actually watched it, I mean, you can look at the statistics sheet. They didn't do much offensively. It was really a very one-sided game if you actually watched it.
I was very annoyed that last week the same thing happened.
Yeah.
Real Salt Lake had a guy blatant dive, get away with it, and it set up a scoring opportunity to win the game. The MLS fined that guy for diving.
Retroactively gave him a yellow card, yeah. And then the next week it happens 2 more times. It's unbelievable.
But I mean, retroactive. I mean, that's great that he got fined and yellow card, but that doesn't put any points on the board for us.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But at the end of the day, I mean, those calls were blown. But at the end of the day, the Sounders have to finish their chances. I mean, they created all that possession. The entire game was played on one side of the field, and they only scored once. And that has to change. They have to get better about finishing their possessions.
Is this season done? I mean, I don't like anything I see from the Sounders.
Really, I see. Here's what I see. I see them being that close. They're controlling the tempo of the game. They look like the better quality side. There's a little bit of the ball not quite bouncing the right way. There's a little problem with their finishing. They look just fine to me, to be honest with you. Like, as far as the quality of the quality that they're putting on the pitch, it doesn't look like there's any problem. I don't see a weakness on the team, to be honest.
Oh, I see a huge weakness. This 21-year-old Jordan Morris. He does not look like he looks like he's overmatched. He does not look like he belongs out there.
He's 3 games in. I mean,
he's a little green.
So you don't give a rookie a few games to get his feet under him? I mean,
not when he's on a team that's the flagship team of the freaking conference. No, absolutely not. No, you bring
Okay.
him in off the bench and you let him
And put
incorporate
in-
himself.
so-
You don't put him out there to get eaten by the wolves and then
So
waste
Abraham-
3 games.
So Abraham, your alternative is to bring in another 35-year-old over the hill player like we've been doing the last few years.
Yeah.
Have him break down mid-season like it's happened the last few years.
No, that's
And-
not the other alternative. The other alternative is what I was saying. You bring him in as a sub during games to give yourself a late game
Sure,
boost.
Sure.
And then
but-
as he's gaining confidence,
Get him seasoning that way.
yeah.
So who do you put in his place? Like who's on the roster? I mean, that was the plan when Oba was here, but now he's not. So who else do you put in?
Well, I go back to a 4-4-2 offense and not have 3 forwards.
Who's your fourth midfielder, for that
Who's your
matter?
fourth midfielder?
There's no depth on the team. That's their biggest.
No, I
weakness.
understand that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's a fair argument, definitely. But
That's why Morris is out there, is because there is no depth on the team. There is no. I mean, they're running Roldan out there as a third midfielder. Who are they going to run as a fourth? I mean, there's just no one else.
they're
They
then
need
this
to
is
get.
the poorly
they
put
need to
together
make a
team, is
move.
what you're saying.
They
You're,
need to
you're
make a
talking
move.
about a team that, like in NFL terms, has 3 quarterbacks and no running backs. You know, it's
They need to make a move. They have young guy. They have some young guys on the bench. They need to make a move to add depth. I absolutely agree. But I think the starting 11 on the field, I think, is good enough to win most MLS games. There's just things, the ball's not bouncing their way and they're not quite finishing properly.
yeah. Well, okay. Well,
Hmm.
Clint Dempsey's going to the national team. We're not going to have him for a few games. We're screwed. We're screwed.
So your season's over, 3 games in.
Season's
Done.
over.
Write it off.
It's all
No
done.
more.
It's all done.
Let's go
It's
home,
Galaxy.
guys.
over, man.
How many times has the Galaxy started 0-3 and won the MLS Cup? I mean,
Well, I'd like you to look that up because I don't know.
well, they've how many times have they been in last place 5 or 6 games in and won the MLS Cup? It's been more than once.
Well, that's a fair argument because,
Yeah.
like the NHL and like the NBA, everybody in the MLS gets in the playoffs. So
Mhm.
you have to be really, really epically bad to not get in. So there is that, I guess. I think a big time move needs to be made, and there's a couple of designated player positions available, right?
There is one DP slot open at least, possibly 2. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, another great bit of news that Matt brought up to me earlier today. He mentioned that FIFA,
Oh,
who was
FIFA.
caught
There we
bribing, everybody and their mother for various reasons, has demanded from the FBI to get their money back, in their bribe money back.
they had the balls to say yes, we illegally got that money. It was bribery money. It was corruption
No, they illegally
money.
gave that money,
Well, yeah, whatever. And,
No, but
and
so they want it back.
They bribed
They
the
want it
FBI
back.
to get them off their back about the whole corruption thing with Abu Dhabi and all that, or Dubai. I mean,
Qatar.
Qatar.
Qatar, yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
right. Sorry, wrong Gulf state.
They're-
But so they bribed the FBI to look the other way with the Qatar thing, and they didn't. So they want their money back.
no. The people that the FBI arrested took bribe money from FIFA,
Oh,
That
in the
money was
past for all
seized.
kinds of things. Yeah.
and
that
FIFA
money
won-
was frozen. Yeah, because part of the investigation, and they want it back.
So they basically went in undercover and took bribe money to set them up. Okay.
Yeah, because so apparently they're breaking an illegal contract, by not fulfilling
Yeah.
the bribe
Basically, FIFA operates on a different world.
in a dreamland.
They don't
yes.
they don't understand how
And this is the
laws
new
work.
regime asking for this. So
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, this is the same. Well, technically, nothing has really changed because all the allegations came out, and they had the election, and
Mhm.
what's his name, Blatter, was reelected, even though the axe was hanging above his head. They reelected him anyway,
yeah, meet the new boss, same as the old.
and then he
boss.
was arrested like a week later. They didn't care.
Well, I thought Sepp Blatter quit, and then they accepted his resignation,
Yep.
and then he said, "I was kidding. I didn't really want to quit."
Yeah.
It's-
But they do have a new director, and he's another Swiss guy, because apparently they're neutral, except for the fact of the whole corruption thing. And
No, they equally will bribe anybody and take
Yeah.
bribes from
they'll
anybody
bribe and take bribes from anyone without
without prejudice. Yes.
yes.
Oh man, that's a disaster, and I wonder if maybe just the abolition of FIFA might be the best way to go.
The problem is what do you replace it with?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
need
they'll
some
replace
sort
it
of world governing
Yeah,
body.
yeah. You start over. You
stuff
start over.
like that, but
Start over. I mean,
There's got to be some organization that
Well-
runs the World Cup.
well, do they? Does there? I mean, the host country could run it.
there's a company that runs the Olympics. There's got to be somebody that runs the
Yeah, there's another corrupt organization.
The
but-
IOC.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they're less corrupt at least, not as corrupt.
Well, that we know of. But I don't know. I mean, maybe you just blow up FIFA, everybody involved, start over from scratch. The individual leagues can operate without FIFA.
The problem is
MLS can operate without FIFA.
the
It's
problem
not a
is
big deal.
you hear stories about some of the smaller nations having extraordinarily corrupt leagues as well.
That's fine. Then the new body that you implement will deal with those leagues independently. I mean, a corrupt Ecuadorian league, I don't think anybody cares about. To be
No,
honest.
there are well, I'm sure people in Ecuador care.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is a legitimate reason for FIFA, and they do some good things. I mean, they standardize the rules of the game. They help help with match fixing type issues in certain leagues. They organize global events. They organize continental level events. I mean, there's a lot of good things they do. It's
Yeah.
just the way they're doing it. I mean, there needs to be some serious house cleaning. That's all.
Blow it up, start over.
Well, it's systemic. It's the whole entire. It's rotten to the core, basically. Yeah, you need to just clear the whole thing out from the top to bottom. And like you said, they standardize rules and so forth. Do they take any steps to standardize how the refs are treated and how they're graded and scored? I mean, do they have any kind of auditing system for any of the refs? Because
Well, so Geiger. So this is a funny thing about Geiger. He was a standout ref in the World Cup. He actually ref World Cup matches in the last World Cup.
uh-huh.
He apparently, this is from what I've read and everything. So he had a really, like, in last year's Gold Cup. He ref the semifinal game. He had a really rough game. Made a really bad call that blew the game for Panama in that semifinal game. And ever since then, he's just been terrible. And it's just been it's been a really recent thing. Before that, he was like a great world class referee. So I don't know. Something weird happened with him.
Yeah, there's something.
Enough-
There was that Gold Cup, Panama and Mexico.
Mhm,
He blew that one. There was also the incident in D.C.
mhm.
Where he and Jermaine Jones got into an argument, and then Jermaine Jones ended up like pushing him. And
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe there's something maybe in the last year that just he went a little nuts. But
Maybe he's hooked on pain pills or something.
It's
I don't know.
affecting his ability to do the job, though. And the question is, the MLS, you have to have some sort of
Is-
process to rate refs.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Why
mean,
do we still see Ricardo Salazar reffing? Why do we see poor refs like still in this
Like,
league?
what does it take to get fired as a ref once you have a job? Like,
yeah,
Exactly.
do they
have
have
like
some
the best
kind of
union ever, or
do they have
I don't
some
get
kind
it.
of rating system? Do they have some kind of grading? I mean, like Major League
they
Baseball.
do, but it doesn't seem to
has-
make any difference. I
Well,
know they
Major
have
League-
some sort of rating system, but it doesn't matter at all.
Well, then they need to make it matter. I mean, Major League
And-
Baseball,
yes.
they have a team of
Yeah,
about
I agree.
6
So many
people
calls
that
in
travel.
soccer are judgment calls. Like you can see a way that a call could be justified, even if it's probably the wrong call. That it's sometimes hard to sanction a referee. Like it.
Well, is the solution more refs on the
There's a
field?
lot of
I
there's
mean,
a lot of
is-
judgment calls.
Is
in soccer.
there
I think that is. I think
I
one more
mean,
ref on the field
put
would be
put one
valuable.
more, put 2 more out there? I mean, so more gets observed because there are things happening behind the ref's back that should be yellow carded, if not red carded sometimes, and they're missing them. They're
Mhm.
making bad calls.
And there are things getting red cards that shouldn't.
Yeah,
and then
I mean-
sometimes it's not just behind the back, but sometimes the ref is out of position because it's a very big field.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, it's a
It's hard
big
to see
field, a lot of
something
area
40
to
yards
cover.
away.
He has his 2 offside refs, and then the one guy that calls the subs and the stoppage
Yeah,
time,
they don't really get
and
involved.
that's it. Yeah,
Theoretically, the side refs are allowed to make calls.
yeah. The side refs do make. I mean, they make offside calls. They make foul calls too. Honestly, I mean, you see it all the time, really. But
They seem almost
Not enough.
terrified, though, to make a call.
sometimes.
It just seems to me that there needs to be some kind of system similar to Major League Baseball's system, where they have some traveling folks, a team of 6 people that go from stadium to stadium, and they watch umpires. They watch all of them on the field, how they react to plays, how they make calls,
Mhm.
the pitching strike zone, and so forth. And they grade the umpires regularly, and those grades really do impact. If you're going to get a raise, if you're going to still have a job, if you're going to,
Okay.
so forth. So Do you get a coach in, or do you get to be a part of the playoffs, etc.?
Yeah, MLS refs suck. We know that, and but we we got to get to a break here, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit about the Seahawks and some of their losses in free agency. We are SSU Live. We'll be back in just a second.
Mhm.
Welcome back to SSU Live. I am Abraham DeWeese, and with me are Matt Page and Ian Loney. Behind the camera is one Bob Lucky. We are the Seattle Sports Union. Check us out at seattlesportsunion.com. Check us out at Seattle Sports Union on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. And leave a comment right here below me right now.
Do it.
Let's talk some Seahawks. Let's talk some off-season losses and moves. Yeah, do it.
Okay.
That's right, Ian.
Just do it.
So, guys, we have lost J.R. Sweezy, offensive guard, offensive tackle. Russell Okung. We have also lost Brandon Mebane, the nose tackle. And let us not forget Bruce Irvin.
Bruce Irvin.
What, if I could have you guys rate who is the biggest loss, just go 1 through 4.
Okay.
Biggest loss to the least important loss. Matt.
Biggest loss would be Mebane, in my opinion. Because you miss those big guys up in the middle. We're gonna miss that nose tackle. Number 2 would probably be Sweezy, in my opinion.
Wow, really?
3 would be Okung, and then 4 would be Irvin.
How about you, Ian? If you were to
I
rate them.
think Okung, just because left tackles are so hard to replace. Okung wasn't the best left tackle we've ever had. We were spoiled for so long with Walter Jones, but there's no one else out there. I mean, they're looking at having to draft a left tackle at 26 in the draft, and best ones are gone in the top 10, so I'm not sure what they're going to do at that position. Defensive tackles, Mebane was good, but defensive tackles are replaceable. Same goes for the strong side linebacker. They've proven time and time again they can get a guy in the 3rd round and he'll be just fine. So I'm not that worried.
So what's your
about
order?
positions.
What's the order of?
I'd say Okung first and foremost. I would say probably Sweezy, just because of the offensive line issues that were an issue last year and are going to be even a bigger problem without some serious moves. And then following that, probably Mebane and then Irvin.
I would have to go Mebane number 1, Okung, then Irvin, then Sweezy. All right, guys. So we're kind of in the same boat, it sounds like. But I don't know about you. I'm not really super upset that one of them went. It just seems like a lot of starting positions to have to refill.
And unfortunately, that's the nature of the NFL nowadays. I mean, you can't keep everyone, and you're just gonna have to try and retool as best you can off of free agency and the draft. Now, I'm a bit concerned about how quiet they've been in free agency this year. I know they've signed a couple guards. They signed Jamarcus Webb to a 2-year
Mhm.
contract from the
Sa-
Raiders.
Matt Sowell from the
Bradley
Cardinals?
Sowell.
Bradley Sowell from
Yeah.
the Cardinals.
Yeah, and they have also signed a run stopper, probably Cialver Siliga, I think his name is, from the Patriots. I'm not really that familiar with him though. He's
Yeah.
kind of a rotational guy.
Only problem, guys, those two offensive linemen are career backups
Yeah,
and have
they're
never been. Both of them have never really been
Jamarcus
the man.
they're
Jamarcus
depth.
Webb was a 16-game starter last year for the Raiders.
Yeah, but he bounced around the league prior to that.
Yeah.
And Raiders wanted him so bad they let him go. So,
I wouldn't be too concerned personally about our level of discussions around the league. You know, we've always played it pretty close to the vest. And the other thing is to look at it. We've entered a new condition as far as free agency is concerned. We are the equivalent of the New England Patriots now when it comes to the free agency. We build a reputation of being able to develop our own defensive players and offensive line players, and we have a solid depth at most every position. There is not really one huge glaring weakness on our roster at the moment. And
Offensive line.
so, well, yeah, but
nose tackle as well.
but you know, we might have one or two little ones, but there's not huge like game-breaking team. You know, this team is not going to make the playoffs breaking holes. And so we reached the point where we're like the Patriots. We can sit back and we can pick and choose and get the veterans that we want at a cheaper rate, because
Come here if you want to win.
Come here if you want to win.
Yeah.
We've reached that level, and so we're comfortable. And we also have don't forget, we also have a GM who's not afraid to trade our #1 overall pick. And there is a left tackle sitting at Cleveland that we're rumored to be eyeing very intently right now.
Yeah, I'd be happy to see Joe Thomas. There's another thing too, 9 draft picks. We have 9
That's a
draft
lot.
picks. I mean,
That is a
And
lot.
these two have shown they can wreak Schneider and Carroll have shown they
They
can
get
wreak some
value.
havoc with draft picks.
yeah.
So.
So part of this might be, hey, we have a lot of draft picks. We're just going to draft 9 guys, see what sticks. You know? Also, Christian Soloki and Matt Glowinski.
Mark Lewinsky.
Mark, why is everybody Matt? In my opinion, I don't know.
Because you're thinking of Matt Page.
Oh, I hope not. That sounds awful. Anyway, those two players came in last year's draft, and Glowinski looked really, really good. And I don't know anything about Scully, but I wonder if the idea is like you just throw
Next
a
guy.
lot of offensive linemen at the problem,
Yeah.
and somebody will come forward.
The
It's kind of like
bullpen
building a
method?
major league bullpen, right? You
Yeah.
throw a bunch
Yeah.
of guys in the pile and see who comes out, right?
Yep.
Right.
But they have kept some key guys. I think re-signing Jeremy Lane was huge.
Oh, it was.
Huge.
That was
Huge.
very big.
Tyba Rubin, who had a great year last year, getting him back was a big deal. John Ryan, he's the best punter in the NFL. I think
Oh yeah.
the importance of a punter is a bit underrated, because a guy that can consistently pin that ball inside the 20 from almost anywhere on the field is an asset.
And can
I don't
appear
care
on
who you
American
are.
Ninja.
And it looks like today they just re-signed Mike Morgan, the linebacker,
That's right.
to
They
back
did.
up to shore up that a little bit more.
He's a great special team player too. And
know-
you know, I was watching last week's, and I know Abraham, you really are not big on special teams, but it is an incredibly important aspect of the game. And then this year's special teams really proved that versus the prior year.
Again, you're brainwashed by Rusty Tillman. And
I don't even know
you
who
have-
that is.
He was the special teams coordinator for the Seahawks during the Chuck Knox era, and he
Okay.
was the one. The Seahawks in the '80s had the best special teams every year in, year out.
And they felt
And-
terrible.
Yeah. So tell me what that means. That doesn't.
I'm
mean
telling
anything.
you that it is important to the game. I'm not saying it is the game, but I'm saying it is important.
But
it's
good-
there, but they're replaceable. Punters are replaceable.
A good punting game makes your defense better.
It
Like
does.
it helps your defense. Like it's not going to be the difference between winning a championship and being in last place, but it could be the difference between getting a first seed and getting a third seed.
It could be the difference between, I don't know, making a touchdown in an NFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tyler Lockett's way more important than the punter. And if you want to talk special teams and who's the most valuable guy, it would be Lockett. And I was lambasted last week for talking about Ricardo Lockett. Now he's never going to play for this team again.
I really wish he could play again, but
Yeah.
it's like a Jermichael Finley situation.
No, and yeah,
he's
it is what it is.
He's uninsurable at this point, probably.
No, he shouldn't play. His health is too important.
He was the best gunner in the league by far.
Yeah. So don't tell me I don't like special teams. I like Tyler Lockett and Ricardo Lockett. I don't know. Punter's just a guy. Just a guy.
Just a guy who's the best in the league.
Okay, he's the best in the league. Well, you're the best FedEx shipper at AT&T.
That's not.
I wouldn't pay you more money.
That's getting a little real there, Abe.
That's not very high praise.
Or not that you ship things at AT&T.
Getting a little real.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I don't have a job. I have to live through everybody else's jobs. Anyway, let's get back. We're deviating from the point here.
What about Clint Grisham?
He's long snapper. Let's get on to somebody important.
Quietly, the last week, Clint Grisham, our long snapper
All right.
Yeah,
No more
5 years.
special teams. I'm calling an end to
replaceable.
special teams. I don't care about special teams.
Okay, how about Christine Michael?
Let's talk about the running back situation. Right now, you have an injured, coming off an injury, Thomas Rawls,
Yeah.
and Christine Michael, and no other running backs.
Incorrect.
Derek Coleman's a fullback.
Incorrect. Marshawn Lynch is still on the roster.
Shut up.
He has
Nobody
not
cares.
filed.
It's on the payroll.
Nobody
He
cares.
is still on the payroll.
Answer the question. You're arguing something that really nobody wants to hear about. What we want to hear about is what are they going to do with the running back situation? Tell me what they're going to do with the running back situation.
They're going to
Here's what they're
draft
gonna do about
someone.
the running back situation. They can get any free agent running back for about $2 million. That's the going rate for a running back in the NFL these days.
Okay, who's available?
There's lots of guys that could be third
Arian
down blocking
Foster?
backs floating around. Names don't pop into my head right this second, but there's at least a half a dozen guys that would be perfectly fit the role that Fred Jackson played last year.
Oh, Fred Jackson was a third down running back. What we didn't have last year
And
was a
screen
backup
pass.
for Tom Rawls. Nobody does. Nobody has third string and fourth string
You
running backs.
can only have 53 guys on your roster. You can't.
Yeah, I understand that. But
can't
Christine
compete.
Michael's not a backup running back in my opinion. He's not good enough to be on this team.
I fully expect them to draft someone. And Christine Michael is there to compete with that guy. I think Christine Michael isn't going to make the team. I think he's there to compete with the guy that they're going to draft.
They didn't tender Christine Michael. They signed him on a 1-year prove-it deal after he was basically set out on the free agent market and he came back again.
Mm-hmm.
And because no one else really wanted him, they're not betting on him being the guy. Yeah, they're probably going to draft someone, or they'll find someone in free agency, someone older possibly in free agency that could back him up.
And you guys are happy with that?
Well, it's the options they have available. I mean,
Well, no, I mean,
they're not just going to go get Adrian Peterson. So
well, no. Matt brought up Arian Foster. What about him?
Yeah.
He's out there.
that would fit the bill of an older running back. So yes,
It could be a change of pace back, yeah. Third down back. Screen pass guy.
Mhm.
You could definitely take some load off Thomas Rawls. He's been injured for the last 3 years, but yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of them.
We've
There's
been
a bunch
running
of
for
guys.
the last up until this year. We had been running with just Marshawn for 3 or 4 years before that. So. And been doing just fine. We didn't really have anyone but Christine Michael behind him.
I may add Robert Turbin, but yes. Anyway, we got to run a break here and talk a little bit about the Mariners. We're going to be right back after this. Are we on break? Are we going to break? Bob? Break?
God, Abe, you're turning into Skip Bayless.
Are we on break? There we go.
Oh, oops.
Welcome back to SSU Live. I am Abraham Deweese. With me are Matt Page and Ian Loney. Welcome back, guys. Right now, the Seattle Mariners are coming back online. It's spring training time. Guys, looking at spring training, I've noticed a couple of interesting things. You got some young guys that are flailing and some young guys that are on fire. I'm talking about Stephen Romero. He's on fire.
Yeah, he's
And-
been absolutely on a tear this spring. In fact, I have an article about talking about him and a couple other guys up on our blog at seattlesportsunion.com. You should check it out. But anyway, yeah, Stephen Romero has been hitting the cover off the ball all spring. He's definitely making a case that he might be on the roster. They've been playing him a lot at first base. Might be a guy that they want to put at first base
He looks
to
pretty
be
at
alongside
ease
Adam Lind
at
as a
first,
platoon
too.
partner.
Yeah, he looks pretty at ease at first base. It looks like a much more natural position for him there too, as opposed to right field, left field, wherever they've been bouncing him around all the last 3 or 4 years. First base definitely looks like a great spot for him. I really hope he makes the roster. He's definitely making the choice very hard for them, which is good.
Now, counting against him is the fact that he has a minor league option left,
Yeah.
so he could be sent down to Tacoma without losing him,
Yeah.
which is not true about Jesus Montero, who is out of options
But
and is
count-
also not
but-
having a terrible spring.
But counting for Stephen Romero is he can play
Mhm.
all the outfield positions.
That's true.
That gives him a certain amount of utility there aren't a lot of players on the team that have.
Good flexibility, yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
I just want to point out it's been a long time since the Mariners have had a situation where we have too many hitters that are doing well in spring training, and we have to make a tough choice
Ooh,
to cut some hitters.
that's a good place to be.
It's a
Yeah,
very good place
It's
to
a
be.
good problem.
Ian, you were talking about Jesus Montero. He doesn't look very good this spring.
He hasn't looked terrible. He's around 250.
230.
Well, that's one day's variance in spring training, so
It's still relevant when your competition is Adam. Well, it's not Adam Lind. He's a lock. But your competition is Lee, and your competition is Romero and Gabby Sanchez, and God knows however many other players are
Well,
out there.
I think Sanchez got cut.
at the end of the day, in the last 10 years of the Mariners, how many times have we been fooled by a player having a hot spring? And we need to keep that in mind.
I understand.
Just because a player has a good spring or a bad spring doesn't mean they're going to have a good year or a bad year. In fact, it very often means the exact opposite of that.
That is correct. Then what do you look at? What is it you look at? I
You
mean,
look
if
at
you
how
can't look at their spring, what do you look at?
well, yeah, you look at how comfortable they look up at the plate. You look at their past track record. Montero played pretty well last year when he was up.
He had a good month and then a bad month, so
Mhm.
kind of.
And you just have to, and you go with what the needs of your roster are. I mean, I think even as good of a spring as Romero has had, he's probably going to start the year in Tacoma, at least to start the year, and Montero's going to get a shot. Because at the end of the day, that is the version that gives you options, flexibility.
Mhm.
If you go with Romero, you're going with Romero. Period. The end.
Yeah.
If you go with Montero, you can always cut Montero later and bring Romero up in May or something if it doesn't work out.
Yeah,
So-
but what if Lee takes the job? Then you have nothing to do with Montero.
Well, you're gonna have to pick between Lee or Montero anyway. So
Yeah.
it's take your pick. Either you're
But
gonna like,
you could still have Stephen Romero on the team as a backup, right?
well, that
You could.
that brings us to the other flexibility issue because there's the other guy that's hitting the crap out of the ball this spring,
Luis
and that's
Sardinas.
Luis Sardinas. And I know Matt is a big fan of Luis Sardinas, but he's been hitting even better than Romero, and he's already kind of been penciled in as the utility infielder because he can
Mhm.
play every infield position pretty solidly,
Very well.
and he's a very good young prospect. He's 22, I think, this year,
Mhm.
and is showing all kinds of promise. He looks really good at the plate. And yeah, he looks like to be the guy that's going to be subbing in around the infield most of the time. And then it's a pretty tight roster at this point, so finding a spot for Romero is going to be tough because of that.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm very high on Sardinas. He's fun to watch. He adds a dimension of speed also to the team, and his glove is a plus at short and at third. He's a little weaker in the second base, but he can definitely handle it no problem. he just brings that hustle and that life that I love to see from young players. I love to see from really any player on the field, and he's definitely, I think he's got it nailed down. I think Chris Taylor is definitely gonna go back to Tacoma and learn how to relearn to gain his confidence on how to hit and so forth, and that'll give him, us a chance to hopefully redevelop Chris Taylor. Which is always good. At the end of the day, we have too many bats. That's
Well,
a good thing.
It's good having him down there too, in case Ketel Marte hits a sophomore slump or something as
Yeah.
well. He had a very good rookie season, but you never know what might happen this year. We've definitely seen that in the past with Mariners shortstops. So
Very true. Very true.
so we'll see how things go in that department as well.
As far as the rotation is going, though, we'll move on to the rotation, I guess. We've got 1 through 4. It seems like we're pretty much penciled in with Felix
Mhm.
and Miley and Kuma and Ty Walker.
Yep.
I don't know if I put Iwakuma as a lock.
To make the
It
roster?
sounds
Make
no.
rotation?
It
I don't-
sounds
as a rock to make the starting rotation.
I was watching the spring training game last. I believe it was Thursday, and they had Jerry DePoto in the booth, and they were interviewing him, and it sounded to him, from what they were talking about, 1 through 4 is locked up, and number 5 is gonna come down to Paxton or Nate Carnes.
Yeah.
okay.
Montgomery.
Kuma got knocked around in his last start, but he was leaving the ball up quite a bit.
Yeah.
I actually watched that game. He was leaving the ball up quite a bit. It was just a bad outing, though.
They're not worried
He's
about
still
him at
working it
all.
out. They're not worried about Kuma. He's a veteran.
Yeah, especially
and-
if you have 6 starters, because if Iwakuma can't make it, then whoever loses out at that 5th position probably fills in.
Well,
Yeah.
Mike Montgomery, who you remember from the rotation last year, has already been moved to. He's out of options, so he's going to be a long man out of the bullpen.
Mhm.
He's already been moved and basically told that was a foregone conclusion. But it's going to come down to Carnes and Pax, and they're not making
Yep.
it easy. It's been a tough competition.
Yeah,
between the two
they're
of them.
both actually pitching pretty well this spring.
Very well.
And I think they're leaning toward Paxton because I think he has the highest ceiling of the two.
He could
and
be
they
a
wanna
number
see
2
him-
if he just stays healthy.
see if he can just stay healthy for a full season. Yes, I think it's very important, and I think they want to give him that opportunity.
Mhm.
But so I think he's probably the leading contender right now, but it could easily go to Carnes because he's pitched pretty well this spring as well.
Well, now if Paxton goes to the bullpen, you could probably extend his career, right?
Well, his injuries haven't been anything that looks like it's a durability problem. They've been things like they haven't been arm problems. They've
Dumb
been
stuff.
obliques and
Yeah,
hamstrings
dumb
and stuff like
stuff.
that.
It's still
Muscle-
it's still a
muscle-
history.
It is a history, but
It is a history.
it's not enough yet to basically say, okay, his ceiling is no longer a number 2 starter.
When does yet happen?
This season. This
Yeah,
season is pretty
This
much to
season's
make a break.
for him.
Okay.
He's had only a couple opportunities before now, but this season will be it. And yeah, if he breaks down again as a starter notation, I'm sure they'll definitely will explore considering putting him in the bullpen long term. Maybe
Well-
have him be a relief ace.
Well, let me go back to my question though. Let's say Carnes beats him out. Do you put Paxton in the bullpen or do you send him down to AAA?
You send him down to AAA.
AAA.
You keep him stretched out as a starter.
He'll be
So
up
the-
when someone else gets hurt
Yeah.
because he's got options left.
hmm
Interesting, but what does that do to his mentality being put down to AAA?
I think he just gets explained that he's not being.
Yeah, it's not a
Often,
No,
punishment.
that's easy for
He's
us, but what about him? He's the one getting sent down.
Well,
Well, he's a professional. He can put his big boy pants on and deal
Yeah.
with it. I don't
He can
know.
man up.
Or he could
And
be,
we have
or
a
he
new
could be
player
Johnny
to-
Manziel and pout and never
Yeah.
do well again.
well, then he's no good to us anyway. We have a new player development staff, a whole new player development staff, and they can talk to him and work with him down in Tacoma, and maybe even make him even better.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
yeah.
there's a
That's why I
reason
said
he isn't
maybe.
on the minors is to work on them and develop. And let's face it, it's a 162 game season. Somebody's going to get hurt and he's going to get called up at some point
Yeah.
anyway.
Somebody's gonna miss
So,
a couple starts at least.
At the end of the day, both of those guys are going to end up in the rotation at some point during the season.
Yeah.
Well, okay, what if there's a complete breakdown, let's say, of Nate Carnes in the first month? Do you just go ahead and bring up Paxton immediately, or do you think about sliding in Montgomery back into the starting lineup?
Define complete breakdown, as in he's constantly getting shelled, or is he's hurt?
Yeah. He just loses it, like mentally, or his arm just doesn't work anymore.
Then does Karn still has options?
Yeah, Karn
So
still has
just swap
options.
him and
And
Pax.
if his arm breaks down and you put him on the DL and you call up Paxton, so
Yeah, I was wondering if you move Montgomery back. I like Montgomery as a starter.
well, Montgomery, once you move him to the bullpen, you would have to stretch him out again over some time.
And
Stretch him
honestly,
out as a starter again because you can't just take a guy who's gotten you adjusted to 2 or 3 innings. It's kind of just the way their arms work.
So you
You
can't
can't
take a 29-year-old veteran and make him do that.
overnight. No, you would have to. He would like his first time out, he'd be good for like 4 innings, and then you would
you'd have
take
to, yeah, you
2 or
have to
3
work his
starts
way
before he
up.
could go like a full start.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But
I don't know
you
if I
know,
like that.
and I don't think
that's just the way things work.
from watching.
Well, I understand it's the way things
Mhm.
work, but you're talking about Montgomery, who's outperformed many of the guys that have locked down the starting position.
Well, not so much. You know, I think he's had some trouble. He definitely had some troubles later in the game, later in the fooling the third time around in the progression of the lineup, and I think ultimately his future might lie in the bullpen. He might be best used as
Talking about
relief
Carnes or
ace.
Paxton?
No, we're talking about Montgomery.
He's already going to the bullpen, right?
Yeah, I'm
Capoto's
just
already
saying.
said
I
that.
think his future
Yeah.
might be to stay there. I think that might be the best for him.
Well, I mean, if we're putting him in the bullpen, that's where his future is going to be.
It is for now.
For now.
Well, that was my question: is what?
Well,
when do things? How do things change?
There's a transition period where, like, if he was to be put back into a starting role, he would have to. He would basically. You'd have a couple games where it would be like one of the bullpen type starts, where he'd pitch 4 innings, say, and if he was long, he pitched 4 innings, then the bullpen would take it from there, and then the next one he might be able to go 5, and then maybe stretch him out to 6 or 7. It's just you can't just take him straight out of the bullpen and say tomorrow you're pitching 7 innings. It just doesn't work like that.
Well, no, that never happens, and I understand that. Usually, what
Yeah.
you do is you spot fill for a 5-inning outing.
Right.
I get
Yeah.
that, but that's what I was questioning: is why he's in the bullpen. I know it's going to happen, regardless of what I say. I just thought he performed pretty well, and I
I
like him better than Nate Carnes, to be honest.
Have you ever? Well, okay.
The honest
And-
truth is Nate Carnes hasn't really. He was rushed to the majors by
Mhm.
the Rays last year. He might benefit from going down and having Pax take the number 5 spot and spend some more time in AAA. To be honest, he has a. I think he projects out to like a third or fourth starter overall in the majors, but he's still a little unpolished.
Yeah, he's a little green, and I think some more time in Tacoma would be good for him. I honestly think it's Paxton's job to lose, and he hasn't done anything to make me think he's going to lose it.
No.
So I think at the end of the day, it's going to be Paxton as the
Okay.
5th starter going into the season.
We have had some trouble also though with Montgomery to the bullpen. That's a good thing because we need some stability in that bullpen. After Benoit, who we signed to be the 8th inning pitcher, and we signed Cishek to be our closer.
Hmm.
We've got Furbush, who's just I read today he just started throwing from 100. It was 120 feet. He played catch today,
Yeah.
for the first time in forever, and so we've got once we finally get him involved, we've got those 3 plus Montgomery. We still have the rest of the bullpen to fill out. We've had a couple bad injuries that have really made our bullpen kind of suspect.
Well, yeah, that's gonna be the tough part. But season's coming up. Hopefully, somebody comes up big and fills out some of those innings, eats up some of those innings.
Well,
we have to run a break, but we're gonna come back and do a segment called "Buy, Sell, or Go to Hell." It's our favorite little game here at SSU Live. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to SSU Live. I'm Matt Page here. We're gonna do a little bit of a mix up here. I got thrown on the bus all of a sudden. Ha ha ha. Here with me, as always, is Abraham Deweese and Ian Loney, and we're gonna do a little segment called Buy, Sell, or Go to Hell, which is our fun game where we get to name off people and we get to decide whether we want to buy their jersey, sell their jersey, or send them off to hell. And it's a little bit of fun, and we'll see what happens here. So I've got the list here. We're gonna go off of. We'll start with Abraham. Mark Geiger, the referee who screwed the Sounders by allowing Vancouver to flop. Would you
Go to
buy-
hell.
Oh,
You screwed us. You screwed us. You and your MLS refs have all screwed us. We're 0-3 off of 3 bad calls. Yes, there are things that we could have done to help our own situation. But come on, a goal kick cannot be given to floppers.
I say buy, and here's why. Mark Geiger's jersey, if he keeps officiating games like that, he's not going to be refereeing much at all in the future. So I think his jersey's going to be vintage very soon. So I say buy it.
Be
Buy it
vintage
now
and-
while it's cheap.
vintage and valuable. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with Sell. I mean, he's been getting worse and worse as you know, having like we discussed earlier. You know, he officiated in some pretty high stake matches, and he's really screwed the pooch. So he's definitely going downhill, and I'd Sell now. So then we're gonna go. Here's the next one. Richard Sherman, who's called Roger Goodell a suit because the NFL wants to institute a mandatory 2 personal fouls equals an ejection. Let's go to Ian.
Mandatory 2. Seriously, 2 personal fouls equals an. Yeah.
Yep.
Does that include like clipping penalties and
Personal
Personal
foul.
foul.
It's any
Uh,
personal foul.
wow, incidental face mask personal foul? Or,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, I say buy because Richard Sherman's exactly right. Because what the hell? Come on, Goodell. They're playing football.
I buy Sherman and I tell Goodell to go to hell because personal fouls are just not. I mean, they're like an accident. You know,
Well,
Some of them are.
Some
There's
of them,
different kinds of personal fouls. If a guy is like kicking a guy after the play or something like that, that's one thing, and he probably should be ejected anyway. But just the personal fouls that get called as personal fouls because of some arcane rule that makes it a personal foul.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Well, there's like there is the Odell Beckham game where Odell Beckham should have got kicked out, but I don't know if you need to legislate why somebody gets kicked out. If he's just being a jerk, kick him out. I think you have the ability.
yeah. The refs
Yeah.
have the power to eject anyone at any time.
Yeah, I don't see why they would need a specific rule saying, "Hey, you had an illegal block in the back. You're ejected." Okay.
Yeah, so then as far as my feedback, I unfortunately have to agree with both of you guys. Richard Sherman, buy his jersey, always a solid buy, always a solid buy. And Goodell, go to hell, seriously. Learn, I don't know, take a chill pill.
Goodell,
Learn
you're
how
a
the
suit.
game works. Take some of your $45 million a year salary and go and learn how the game works that you manage.
NFL needs a new commissioner.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
Moving on. Russell Okung represents himself and gets a terrible contract. I don't know about it's terrible, but that's what the script here told me to
It's
say.
terrible.
It's a terrible contract.
Abraham.
Yeah, well, I buy Russell Okung because apparently he's just giving away his services. Like,
Yeah.
The first year,
I'll,
yeah.
I'll give him $10 and I'll wax his car if he wants to come play for me.
Yeah, the fact that he could tear up his knee in training camp and just get cut and get $1 million out of that contract is, and no signing bonus, is wow.
I'm
Yeah,
kind of on the fence on this one. I think the man who represents himself as a fool for a client, but on the other hand, it shows that he really he knows that he was playing hurt and was terrible for the Seahawks the last year and a half, and he wants to earn, in his mind, he wants to earn his way back to the top of the game. The problem is that physically he doesn't have it anymore, and he's a fool because it's a business, and the NFL is a business first. So they're going to cut him after one season. They're not going to give the options. He's never going to get all the money. He's never going to get very much money at all. and so he's a fool to think that they're going to stick with him.
If he had an agent, he would have got a better deal.
Yeah, he absolutely would have.
He might have been a 1-year prove-it contract, but he would have gotten a better deal.
Yeah.
Well, it would have been something like 1 year, $5 million guaranteed. You know,
Yeah.
that at least that's something.
Yeah.
So sell. I have to say sell. Did Ian? Did you say buy, sell, or go to hell?
I said sell.
Okay. So then we'll move on here to a sad grandpa. Old man makes 12 hamburgers for his 6 grandchildren. Only one shows up for dinner. I don't know what that is.
That was a big story this week. This
It was?
grandpa made all these hamburgers for all his grandkids that were supposed to come to, like his birthday dinner. Yeah, and only one
What sites
grandchild
you
showed
get
up.
your news from? Like sadfamily.net?
I don't know. What does that have to do with sports too? I don't understand. Was he in Seattle at least?
I say buy because those kids need to have more respect for their elders.
Yeah, I say buy grandpa's jersey. Like, he needs any help he can get.
Sell his jersey now because his kids have already have. All right, Mike Zunino. He was just sent down to the minors. Buy, sell, go to hell. Ian.
I say buy. I still have hope for Zanino. I mean, the plan all along was to send him to the minors. This is no big shock, and he was having a terrible spring. Let him go down to the minors, see if he can figure it out. I still have hope. He's still young. Let's see. Let's hope that the Mariners haven't just completely destroyed one of the best prospects that they've had in years, and hope he can turn it around.
Yeah, his jerseys are probably going to be really cheap in the team store, so I think I'll buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably get it for $30.
You say that, but I was surfing their clearance site the other day, and
As
they
Matt
still
does,
want.
as Matt does.
I always do. I always do. They would have still wanted $75 for a Sean Figgins jersey.
What?
Sean Figgins, by the way, just retired today. But anyway,
That's why you have to go to the team store and find the clearance rack there, not the
Yeah,
one
you
on
not the
website.
website.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
okay,
can.
yeah. I'll say bye for Mike Zunino. I think he still has a future, and this, like Ian was saying, this was always the plan. So there's nothing surprising here.
They planned for him to suck last year, so
No, they planned. Yeah, whatever.
No, they
That was Jack Z trying to save his job. But anyway. All right, moving on. Hulk Hogan wins versus Gawker for $115 million for a porno movie.
yes, he did.
He did.
A
Abraham.
porno movie where he was portrayed.
No. It was a sex tape that got leaked or something. Gawker got it and they put it on their site.
Yeah, I think
Watch 80-year-old Hulk Hogan having sex.
Well, it was filmed like 15 or 20 years ago or something like that.
and against
Watch 60-year-old Hulk Hogan having sex. Jesus.
and if I remember right, he wasn't told about it, and that's the whole thing, right?
I don't know.
It was a tape, and then Gawker put it on.
He was
and
filmed without his permission.
I'm glad this happened to him. I can tell Gawker to go to hell.
It's
this
gonna
kind of
put
crap-
Gawker out of
Gawker,
business.
I could tell
Good.
Gawker to go to hell anyway because Gizmodo's like the worst tech blog, and yeah, their news is a joke, and yeah, Deadspin is the worst sports site ever. So yeah, they can just go to hell.
All right, but it was Hulk Hogan. Do you want to buy, sell, or go to hell? for him?
Oh,
Can I just tell Gawker to go to hell? I don't really want to buy Hulk Hogan's anything.
All right.
you don't want to buy his pythons?
I don't want.
Okay, moving on.
Wait,
the
Matt,
last
what were you
one.
gonna do? What were you
Oh,
gonna do?
I'll tell Gawker to go to hell because that's just not cool. Not cool. And they're terrible. They really deserve to go out of business. And as for Hulk Hogan, yeah, I don't want to buy his stuff either. I'll sell it because now that everyone has seen everything he has to offer, literally, he'll depreciate in value. I don't know. All right. Well, the last one I have here says Jeremy Renner wants Hawkeye to go to Netflix because he can't compete with other Avengers. Abraham, you want to explain that one?
Well,
He's the one who came
apparently
with the
Jeremy
list.
Renner as the worst Avenger ever.
He wants a Netflix show like Daredevil.
He wants to be where all the B Squad is, on Netflix. I say if he goes to Netflix, buy because Daredevil's been really good. And so
Daredevil's
is Jessica
amazing.
Jones.
Season
What
2
about
just
Agents
came
of
out
S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Friday.
Agents of Shield's not on Netflix. That's
I know they're on
ABC.
BBC.
Yeah.
But they're kind of C squad anyway. They're not even up to B
Yeah,
squad
they're-
level.
Yeah. No, Daredevil season 2 came out Friday, and it's amazing.
If Jeremy Renner's not careful, he's going to end up on Agents of Shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be the Avenger that actually gets to be on the show.
Well, and the thing was, is they were trying so hard in the last Avengers movie to make his character relevant. They gave him a whole family, and they made everyone go to his home and learned all about his backstory. And it's like,
And people still didn't.
people
care.
were like, "Why are we wasting time on Hawkeye? This guy's useless. You killed Quicksilver. You should have killed Hawkeye."
Yeah.
Yeah, I buy him on Netflix.
Sorry, spoiler alert. Sorry.
Jesus.
So you buy him on Netflix.
Yeah, and then I sell him as an Avenger.
Okay. Ian, what do you say?
I say go to hell. Like you have a pretty good acting career anyway. You're just not gonna make it as an Avenger. Just deal with it.
I have to agree. I hate Hawkeye as an Avenger. He's useless, and just as a character in general, and the whole family, oh my god, now he's got kids and all. No, I don't care. Kill the guy. Honestly, I'm fine. Move on. So then that's it for Buy, Sell, Go to Hell. And other than that,
That's about it for our show as well.
there you go. Yeah.
We want to thank you guys for joining us. My name is Abraham DeWeese. With us is Ian Loney, Matthew Page, and behind the camera, one Bob Lucky. Join us every Sunday here at 8 o'clock, where you can check us out and leave comments below and enjoy all of our great commentary. Also, check out our SeattleSportsUnion.com page for all our great articles. Check us out on Twitter at Seattle Sports Union, and check out our Facebook. Have a great day, guys.